Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and this probably marks the third video I've ever had on old Andrew Tate. Now ladies and gentlemen, why am I doing this? Why am I covering Andrew once more? Well, the reality is I've been kind of like watching this case sort of from the sidelines ever since Andrew Tate's been arrested. It seems like every month things are constantly happening and there's constantly a denial for this man to leave prison. Now, to understand, Andrew Tate is quite possibly one of the most famous people on the internet in the last year because he had some real wild takes, he had some real wild clips that were floating around, and Andrew Tate is somebody that made a lot of money working in some seedier businesses. But of course, Andrew Tate's been arrested in Romania, a country that he once heralded as a place that you could buy whatever you wanted. You could get away with corruption, easier access, if you will. And it seems like it's biting him on the ass because it seems like every month that I follow the guy, the Romanian courts constantly deny him from leaving. And it's to a point where he's been in prison for a solid minute. Since the first day of this year, from what I understand, Andrew Tate's just been chilling in prison, and there's nothing that's coming out of it. But of course, one thing that's been freaky is apparently he might actually have cancer, it seems. Now, cancer is a really serious thing, and obviously I'm going to just straight up say it right now. When it comes to death wishing and like, oh, congratulations, the dude has cancer, let's get excited, woohoo! I think it's wild, and I think it's sickening to just sort of cheer on if somebody is dying of something so wild. And I know you might be like, but Muda, aren't you a hypocrite for not caring about EDP and kidney failure? And the thing is, no, I don't actually feel bad. In that specific instance, EDP was caught on sting operations doing some really, really bad things. So, of course, I really don't have any sympathy for that right there. Now, in Andrew's case, because I'm somebody that treats the law very seriously, at one point I did want to become a lawyer. Money got in the way. I had to really focus on a career at the time, and I never really got to chase that passion. But I like the law. I like the idea that we have a saying known as innocent until proven guilty. While I have my biases against Andrew Tate, I don't think he's a good guy. I don't like him as a person. I genuinely believe that until the trials come in, we should always assume everyone is innocent until proven guilty. It's one of the biggest, achievements of mankind internationally is the rule of law. Like, you should generally be siding with somebody if they are truly innocent. Look, if tomorrow it came out that Andrew Tate didn't do anything bad and every piece of evidence that was thrown against him was false, I'm going to have to say the man is innocent, okay? And he should walk free. Now, of course, if he did actually commit criminal activities and it turns out that he is a complete illegal scumbag, then yeah, throw the book at him, throw away the key, call it a day. I'm sure anybody that's invested in the case that's like either you hate the guy or you want to suck him off, will probably believe whatever they want. Even if he gets convicted, you're always going to have a group of people that are going to sit there and be like, the Matrix got him. And if he walks free, they're just going to be like, a corrupt country known as Romania let him go. Look, in reality land, at the end of the day, with how this case is going and how much attention it's gotten, look, I didn't care about that Johnny Depp Amber Heard case because I didn't follow it too much, but this is a case that me and everyone around me is following, okay? Whether you go into reality land, people like my parents are following it because they see it on the news, and people, close friends follow it, and they're not even online whatsoever. This is something that a lot of people know. So for me, following this is an interesting case. I want to see how this story ends, and I want to see it end right. At the end of the day, it's gotten so much attention that even if Romania is the most corrupt country on the fucking planet, they are going to follow all the laws, all the rules, cross all the T's and dot all the I's just to make sure that they don't look like the laughingstock in front of the world. Now, of course, is there politics behind this entire situation? Absolutely. But I have to hope, I have to believe what's happening over here is, of course, proper legal procedure. Now, of course, Andrew Tate's recently come out. One of the managers, I guess you could say, has pretty much admitted that Andrew's got some cancer, so to speak. Apparently, one of the dude's managers, okay, a lot of people are asking me if the Tate lung cancer story is true. Yeah, it's true. I was the one driving with him to and from hospitals in Dubai. I don't have any more specifics to share. So, of course, when Andrew Tate was chilling out in the UAE, allegedly he had cancer, okay? Lung cancer, so to speak, which for anybody who doesn't know is probably one of the worst forms of cancer to have. The death rate is very, very high into it. So yesterday I saw this one post from an account that was saying, medical update, possible cancer. The CT report is extremely alarming. Andrew Tate might have lung cancer. Urgent biopsy needed, and a 6-month delay could be fatal. which is true. Obviously, the longer you delay treatment for your cancer, the likely you are for it to go full terminal and you dying. It doesn't really help that Andrew Tate loves to smoke cigars if he allegedly also had this lung cancer. I don't think that's doing him any favors. But then again, I'm not a top G, so I wouldn't know, okay? I haven't had my Bugatti seized yet, so it's going to be a while before I figure that one out. There are reports he lost 10 kilograms. That's a couple pounds for you Americans watching, because I know y'all like to measure shit in penguins, apparently. The metric is too much. In weight, which is also a sign of cancer. I think it's a sign of living in a prison. Generally, if you live a life of luxury and wealth, going to a prison where your food, your lifestyle is so dramatically changed, yeah, you could be losing weight pretty hard. Now, of course, cancer could be incurable now. So what's the proof for this? Apparently there's a leak from the medical centers in Dubai, of all places, where they said, "To whom it may concern, Andrew Tate," a letter written on the 2nd of January. Interesting that this is now coming out in March. You know, if you really had a cancer scare and you really needed treatment, this should have probably been brought up literally the day you would receive this. Don't know why we're hearing about it now. But again, a lot of these stories seem fishy and fake to me, and we'll get to that in a bit. I'm writing this letter in my capacity as Mr. Andrew Tate's primary care physician. I am a consultant in family medicine, blah, 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 okay, in Dubai. Andrew is currently being investigated for a lesion in the right upper lung at King's College in Dubai. He has recently undergone a contrast-enhanced CT scan on 12th December 2022, and there were some concerning features of the lesion that require urgent investigation and tissue diagnosis. So, of course, it is in my professional medical recommendation that Andrew is urgently repatriated to the United Arab Emirates to undergo these medical investigations without delay. You catch that? You catch that, audience? Repatriated to the United Arab Emirates. Now, if it's one thing you have to understand about extradition and like laws of exchanging people around, is while a lot of countries honor extradition laws, Dubai is no exception. They follow it to the T. The biggest problem with extradition is, do you actually think if Andrew Tate gets sent over, he wouldn't use some of that money he has in order to delay an extradition or maybe outright have it stamped? Look, at the end of the day, extraditions are incredibly complicated pieces of legal work. For you to even file an extradition through, I believe both countries have to actually have extradition paperwork. Like, the law has to actually be a violating law in both countries. Like, for instance, if China wanted me extradited because I said, Xi Jinping looked like Winnie the Pooh, Canada, I would hope, would never honor that extradition request because it's not a law that violates their country. Murder, different scenario. Murder is very illegal in both countries, and obviously, at the end of the day, if I murder somebody in China, Canada is going to just send me over. Now, of course, there might be different things where if China is going to torture and like do things to me, maybe Canada might be hesitant, but at that point, that is a lot easier to do. With Andrew Tate's investigation, I have no doubt that if he does go to Dubai, it may actually be significantly difficult bringing the guy back, which makes this situation a little tough to get into. Now, of course, even though beyond all of that, it came into a situation where maybe Andrew Tate wasn't having cancer in the first place. Now, when it comes to medicine, I'm not an expert. I decided to call up my dad because all of a sudden, it seems like anytime evidence gets thrown about with this guy, everyone has to chop and screw around with it and deliberately hide information just to like keep their narrative going. So it seems like Andrew Tate's cytology report also got leaked. Whole day for medical leaks, by the way. Wild that this is happening all in like the span of a few hours. And apparently it seems as though that it doesn't seem like he has cancer. I asked my dad about what what a cytology report would do, and he literally told me, in a call that it's not exactly like a make it or break it. It's not going to tell you if he has cancer or if he doesn't. It just means that if you fail a cytology report, effectively what that means is that specific sample they tested isn't necessarily a sample that is cancerous, or it's not going to be something that, it's not exactly a make or break it, okay? It's great that your cytology reports come in negative. It's not like an end-all be-all that says you don't have lung cancer or you do.
तो वहाँ भी डॉक्टर ही कर सकता है ना काम. अच्छा, एक दूसरी बात है. तो अभी एक दूसरी चीज़ किसी ने निकाली थी. वो कह रहे थे अब एक साइटोपैथोलॉजी टेस्ट होता है ना कोई.
हाँ, साइटोलॉजी टेस्ट.
हाँ, तो साइटोलॉजी टेस्ट डिटरमिन तो नहीं करता ना आपके पास कैंसर नहीं और है. एक गुड वो क्या होता है?
नहीं, साइटोलॉजी टेस्ट अगर किया है ना किसी पैथोलॉजिस्ट ने, तो वो एग्जैक्टली बता सकता है कि जो सेल्स है ना, जो इफेक्टेड सेल है, वो मैलिग्नेंट है कि नहीं है, तो वो कंफर्म कर सकता है।
लेकिन रूल आउट तो नहीं करता ना कैंसर अगर है और नहीं है।
रूल आउट यूं नहीं कर सकता कि उसने जिन टिश्यूज को देखा है उनमें तो नहीं है, लेकिन ये भी तो हो सकता है कि किसी और टिश्यू में हो, तो रूल आउट तो नहीं कर सकता ना, वो तो पूरा लंग तो नहीं देखा।
So one thing that I decided to do was dig into the matter even further to see, okay, maybe this doctor is this doctor truly credible, right? So there was a lot of blurs going on to hide the name. What they didn't hide from the original post was a cell number, or a number that was immediately linked back to this one website. Now I'm blocking this number out because A, I don't want to get no privacy guideline strikes. Also, I don't want to lead any harassment. But this individual ended up being a public known doctor who worked in this area known as Dr. Ali Razak. Now, Dr. Ali, in this case, is an individual that is obviously very highly... I would say that this person is qualified, but if you look at their webpage, it seems their expertise is mostly around aesthetics. Now, I'm not saying that an aesthetics doctor can't, like, diagnose somebody of cancer. I don't know if that can or cannot be done. I'm not an expert in medicine, but somebody that's a aesthetics doctor, if you're going to take an oncology report seriously, it should probably be done by somebody who is an expert in oncology, right? Not an aesthetics doctor. Now, of course, even beyond all of it, looking into the various reports of maybe this person's cytology report does show that there isn't anything serious going on over there. I looked into it, and apparently this person seems like they were a close friend, like there was a Instagram archive like somebody had taken of like him with Andrew Tate. Again, it's not present on their channel, or sorry, Instagram right now, so maybe it was removed. But again, looking close into this scenario, looking just deeper into it, maybe this person isn't exactly the person you want to... You probably want to have a second opinion, okay? You don't want somebody that has a apparently seemingly personal connection, and also their background doesn't really reflect the diagnosis being given. Then again, I decided to do the research. I decided to put myself in there, so I'm just presenting you what I have found, all right? Take with this information, process it however you want to, okay? But just try to always get the facts of every situation.
Now, what's interesting about all of this is, like, the more and more I read about the Andrew Tate situation, the more and more I see this, is like, even if this is the case, obviously it's wild that a lot of people are sharing this Dubai, like, slip out, like it's just hardcore evidence, when at the end of the day, this situation should be proven by Romanian medical authorities, and they should actually diagnose Tate with actual lung cancer. And then, obviously, if the treatments are only available in countries like Dubai, the United States, Japan, for instance, the UK, because some of those universities have specialized procedures that can tackle this better at his stage, if he even has it, then that's a whole different goddamn argument. But of course, Andrew Tate's situation is right now, as long as the governments keep holding him back, which they can only hold him for up to 180 days in detention, which makes sense for Andrew Tate. A lot of people have said that, why did they keep him in prison if they don't have evidence? The reality is, this is such a big case that to build it, it's going to take some time. Every law enforcement agency does not act like really fast in this situation. They all take their time, they all build their case, and that's why those conviction ratings are so high in these situations. Because once they build such an ironclad case, the defense is going to be literally climbing, they're going to be hitting their heads against a wall trying to actually keep you out of prison. At that point, you either make a deal, or you either have like the Hollywood defense. Not even kidding. So, of course, in Andrew Tate's situation, he can only be held for up to 180 days. And if they don't have any evidence, let the dude walk free, which is pretty much in agreement with me. Okay, I think that's totally okay. If they can't like book you in 180 days, then you should be allowed to walk free. You shouldn't be held indefinitely. That is very much against principal legal standing. But of course, when it comes to Andrew Tate and being in this prison system, you also have to understand this is a man that has an extraordinary amount of wealth, and he has flexed the ability to, circumvent legal systems. So him being like deemed a flight risk is not out of the common. If this sounds weird to you, they've literally arrested criminals here that have an exorbitant amount of wealth, put them in prison just up until their trial date because they don't want them escaping. And of course, criminals who have an exorbitant amount of money, alleged criminals who have an exorbitant amount of money and resources, could facilitate some escapes. But of course, in this situation, Andrew Tate's just sort of biting his time, waiting for it to all go over. And he's done weird things like, compare himself to like MLK, Nelson Mandela, and a lot of these figures who have been put in prison for civil rights infractions, who have been put in prison for violating incredibly unjust laws, not because of necessary criminal investigations as Andrew Tate has been put into. At this point, dude's going to have to bite his bullet and pretty much hope that he is innocent. If he is innocent, I think he should walk free. If he isn't, God damn it, throw the book away, toss away the key, call it a day, rot in prison. That's just where my stance comes into it. Now, does the whole cancer story come true to me? I'm going to be honest with you, Chief, probably not. It's a little bit late in the game for me to start believing it. And like a lot of the Andrew Tate evidence and a lot of the stuff that comes out recently, there was oh, did you see these WhatsApp messages that proved that he was being victimized by two of the alleged victims? I had to look through so many posts to find the entire context. See, for me, I don't look at either side for any evidence because people are so dishonest these days in framing a narrative, and they only give out enough of the evidence to make you go to their side. I had to literally dig up on r/ literally Destiny subreddit or just all around the internet to find the entirety of these WhatsApp leaked messages, and they don't defend Andrew Tate in any capacity. I think Andrew's running an interesting grift recently, especially with this conversion to Islam. Anybody can go around and say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Doesn't make them a completely born-again individual. This is a man with a checkered past, a man that has built millions of dollars on creating, millions of dollars off of casinos and these cam girl enterprises. If you were to honestly convert your religion, you got to give away every dime of that cash, okay? That's all blood money. But that's beyond the point, okay? Andrew Tate's story is super duper wild to me. And honestly, I don't see this going on for longer than, again, the 180 days. That trial better come up, and it's going to be a trial that legitimately will break the internet. We're at a point where Andrew Tate's name is a make it or break it for people, okay? This is the day the internet will go in actual flames. And I'm kind of here for it, okay? I want to see justice being done. I want to see him either walk away free because he's innocent, or I want to see him rot in prison because he's guilty. When it comes to a cancer story, I have a real hard time believing it because all of a sudden this paperwork has popped up. It really seems like a ploy to get this guy out of prison and go to another country for treatment, if you will. Not to say that treatment couldn't be done in Romania, through the government, but hey, totally wild story. Anyways, I wanted to talk about it because it's an update that's really just hit me. And yeah, I had a lot of things to say about it, so sorry if this video felt really wild, but I just wanted to get my thoughts. I wanted to really make a little update because I've been following it for months at this point, and sometimes I need a bit of a release. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am